Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Siboga TV, which is your #1 online political channel. Today, I want us to talk about Fred Okengo Matiang'I and Rigathi Gachagua. We want to look at these two political leaders. And the first thing we want actually to talk about is what really inspires these two leaders so that they do the kind of politics that they are doing. So that is the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing I am going to talk about is about conditions that Rigathi Gachagua is actually putting forward so that if those conditions will be fulfilled, then he will support Fred Okengo Matiang'I. Another thing which I want also to talk about, that will be point number 3, is how these two political leaders are actually looked by the Kenyans. How do the Kenyans feel them? So that's another thing which I will talk about. I will also try to analyze about Fred Okengo Matiang'I kind of politics, how it has that characteristic of being inspirational to the Kenyans, and also how the tribal card of Rigathi Gachagua comes forward and how it will destroy that inspirational team of Fred Okengo Matiang'I. We will also look at politics of tribalism, how these two leaders play the politics of tribalism. And I will also look at Matiang'I Gusii support. So that's actually what I want to do, a critical analysis about these two political leaders from the side of Wamunyolo. But before I dive in and try to give you that critical analysis about these two political leaders, I want to request you kindly that please, if you come across this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give this video a like, share the video to your friends, and whenever you subscribe to our YouTube channel, always make sure to smash the bell button. And for those ones who have actually subscribed to this YouTube channel, I thank you. I say thank you so much, because you are behind our inspiration to continue coming up with this kind of political analysis. And now, let us go back to the topic and start by looking at these two leaders generally. When we look at somebody who is called Rigathi Gachagua, we can say that Rigathi Gachagua, on the face of Kenyans, is actually being seen as a tribal leader, as a tribal chief. So that is what actually characterized somebody we call Rigathi Gachagua. And also, if you look at Fred Okengo Matiang'I, you will find that he is being perceived as a national leader. So if you put these two leaders in front of Kenyans and then ask them, what do they represent? You will find people will say Rigathi is a tribal leader, and then others will say Fred Okengo Matiang'I is a national leader. And by only looking at that, we can say that these two political leaders, their politics is quite different from each other. The difference is like heaven and earth. And now, let us also try to look at the way these two leaders play their politics. And let us start with Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua believes that if you want to do politics very well, you must go back to your tribe. You put your tribe first together, and then you request other tribes also to have their leader. And then you come with those tribal leaders, you sit, and then you will be able to look at national politics.
He seems robust, he seems very active, he looks decisive, he looks tough. He has qualities to be president. But does he have the necessary support from home? That if we add our support, we can win. Because we don't want to lose also. So if Matiang'I does not rally the Kisi behind him, my friend, he'll have no chance. Itatoka wapi? Lazima kwanza, for him to be a serious contender, he must put the entire Kisi on the table. Then he stands a good chance of being backed by others. Mimi huwezi kuniambia Rigathi Gachagua niko na watu wote nimeweka pamoja, niunge mkono yule ambaye hana watu wake wote. I cannot. I'll be a fool.
But if also you look at the kind of politics that Fred Okengo Matiang'I plays, Fred Okengo Matiang'I believes that Kenya is for us all, that any leader who is being elected, he is a Kenyan. And we must shun from tribal politics so that we can have that face of being Kenyans. And we must understand that in this republic, we have those Kenyans who probably want to derail us behind. And also we have a forward-looking Kenyans who want to put this Kenya forward, who want to make sure that this nation moves forward. And that is what Fred Okengo Matiang'I believes, that if we have these two divides in our nation, then we must group together as Kenyans who want Kenya to move forward. Then we chart the political destiny of this Kenya to a bright future. And that is actually what Fred Okengo Matiang'I stands for. And that is why Fred Okengo Matiang'I always tries to inspire the people of this nation. He always tells people that it is time for us to come together and then to move forward as Kenyans. And we must avoid those individuals who want to divide us into tribal cocoons, because that might make us to start fighting and forget about our main objective of really taking this nation forward.
When there's a problem in a country like we have now, challenges of various kinds, you will be tempted very easily. Kwanza sasa, with the frustrations we have, disappointments, unfulfilled promises, hata viongozi wengine wanaweza kuanza sasa kutukawanya sisi wenyewe, tuanze kupigana. Hiyo maneno mnasikia tunaambiwa 841 versus I don't know what. Hiyo yote ni style ya kufanya sisi tuanze kupigana, tusahau shida zetu, badala ya kutumia wakati wetu kutafuta suluhisho kwa hayo maneno yote, tuanze sasa kupigana sisi wenyewe. Watu wanapiga nduru hapa Nyeri wako na shida, kule Nyamira wako na shida, kule Taita Taveta wako na shida, kule Kakamega wako na shida. Sasa ukabila unatusaidia nini? Sisi sote tuko na shida. Basi tunatafuta namna ya kutafuta suluhisho so that our country can be managed better. Na tuko tayari kufanya hiyo kazi. Kwa hivyo ninawaomba wananchi, msipoteze imani. Don't lose hope in our country. What we are going through is a momentary situation. And let us not be tempted to turn against each other. Mungu atatubariki. We have had some challenges before, but we always rise again. This country is built on resilience. Wakenya ni watu wa kufanya bidii. Wakenya ni watu wanajua vile tunataka kwenda mbele. Don't lose hope. Tukae pamoja, tushikane. Na hawa ndugu zetu hapa na dada, tushikane pamoja. Mungu atatusaidia, tutafuka hiyo daraja. Na tukivuka hiyo daraja tutaenda mbele. We will fix our challenges. Hizi zote tutatengeneza. So that we fix our education system properly, so that watu wawe na imani kwa elimu yetu. We fix our systems. Hata kama hii ni mambo ya afya, we will find solutions to our challenges together. So that huu muda kidogo tuko na shida hapa na pale, let us not turn against each other. Hii vile tunaambiwa hii maneno ni kabila hii, ni hawa ndio wanataka kuleta shida, ni kabila hii inataka kuleta shida. Hakuna kabila inataka kuleta shida dunia hii. Makabila ni mawili. Wale sisi ambao tunataka maendeleo kwenda mbele, na kabila ingine ya wale ambao hawataki maendeleo wanatusumbua. Na mimi nafikiri sisi sote tuko kwa kabila moja ile ambayo inataka tuendelee mbele vizuri, ama namna gani?
So that is another thing we must understand about these two political leaders. Let me also talk about the conditions that Rigathi Gachagua is trying to lay down, so that if those conditions will be fulfilled, that is when he says that he is going to support Fred Matiang'I. But before I talk about those conditions, please listen to this.
Ila nataka kujua, na ndio mimi nangojea, ni ushahidi ya kwamba jamii ya Omugusi imekubali Matiang'I kama kiongozi wao. Then tuongee na yeye. Unajua mimi pale kwetu nimekubalika. Yeah? Kwa hivyo mimi nikiongea, watu ya mlima wanajua naongea kwa niaba yao. Tunataka kujua kabisa huyu Fred Matiang'I amekubalika na jamii ya Omugusi kama kiongozi wao. Unasikia? Sasa tunajua akija kwa meza amebeba jamii nzima. Na mimi hapo ndio niko na maneno.
Unashuku kwamba jamii haijamkubali?
Mimi nashuku kwa sababu siku amekuja pale amelakiwa vizuri sana. Governor Simbarati, rafiki yangu sana, alikuwa pale. Na kila mtu amesema hawataki Ruto, hawataki Raila, wanataka Matiang'I akuwe rais. Siku tatu baadaye nimesikia huyu Arati akisema Matiang'I kuja ungana na Raila. Sasa mimi nimeshangaa, kwani imekuaje? Kwani hii maneno hamuko mmemaliza? I thought hii maneno imemalizika ya kwamba Matiang'I ndio kiongozi ya jamii, aende atafute uongozi. Sasa nimeona governor ameanza kumwambia atienda ongea na Raila ati kwa ODM. Mimi nataka nimwambie ndugu yangu Simbarati, sawa, rafiki yangu sana na tunaelewana, tafadhali usirudishe hawa Kisii kwa broker. Utakuwa unakosea jamii. Kama hii jamii imeamua, imepata kiongozi anaitwa Fred Matiang'I, akuje kwa meza ya kitaifa aongee nao viongozi wengine wa majamii zingine, watafute serikali pamoja. Mbona wewe unamwambia arudi kwa ile broker ameumiza nyinyi miaka hiyo yote, apitie huko ndio akuje kwa meza ya kitaifa? So hiyo maneno ndio niko na wasiwasi naye kidogo. Tena mimi nimeanza kuona vijana wadogo, huyu kijana anaitwa Osoro, huyu anaitwa Nyakundi, wanamtusi Matiang'I na kusema ni mtu bure, hawezi akwende, atarudi Washington, hiyo mtu hawezani na Kenya nini. Mimi nauliza jamii ya Omugusi, hakuna wazee ya kuita hii watoto waambie hawa wasitukane kiongozi wa jamii, kwa sababu hao vijana, mimi najua William Ruto anawatuma. Hiyo ndio kazi yake, ya kutuma vijana kutukana viongozi. Huyu kijana anaitwa Osoro, huyu anaitwa Nyakudi, na hii anaitwa Sahil, wanatukana huyu Matiang'I, yeye ni kiongozi wa jamii. Sijasikia wazee wameambia hao vijana ni makosa. Sio nimeanza kushindwa. Huyu Matiang'I amekubalika kabisa kama kiongozi wa jamii.
Your Excellency.
After listening to that, you can note that Rigathi Gachagua is telling Fred Okengo Matiang'I that for him to reach at the national table, the first thing he must do, he must actually make sure that all the Gusii community are behind him. And what do we call that? That is a tribal card. He must come to the table of the nation by actually first making sure that he builds that card of putting his tribe behind him. And what Rigathi Gachagua is saying is actually in order. But the way he is putting that forward is actually what we say that we have a problem with. He's trying to tell Fred Okengo Matiang'I that if he has consolidated the Gusii community together, then we cannot have the likes of Osoro trying to abuse him, that he should have everybody in the Gusii nation coming together to support him. And he's saying that we could not have Simba Arati one time appearing to be supporting Fred Okengo Matiang'I. Another time, they are actually telling Fred Okengo Matiang'I that he should join ODM. He should be behind Raila Amolo Odinga. And the way he's putting that, it's actually betraying him as being quite tribal. And that condition is very hard actually to fulfill. What Rigathi is actually forgetting, he is forgetting that even himself is being opposed in Mount Kenya by several leaders. Is being opposed by his own member of parliament from the constituency he comes from. He's forgetting that. He is also being opposed even by the deputy president of this republic who comes from Mount Kenya. He is being opposed by the leader of majority, Kimani Ichung'wah. And by telling Fred Okengo Matiang'I that he must be supported by the Gusii region 100%, by telling Fred Okengo Matiang'I that in Gusii he must have what we call the elders of Gusii, warning those people who are trying to abuse Fred. It's not achievable. Even if you are the kingpin of a certain tribe, you cannot really control that tribe 100%. That is what Rigathi is forgetting. And if those are the requirements that he is putting Fred Okengo Matiang'I on, then we can say Fred Okengo Matiang'I can never fulfill those kind of requirements. So those kind of politics, actually, it's what betrays Rigathi Gachagua negatively. Now, let us also talk about the Luo factor in how these two people think about the Luo factor in the national politics. when you listen to Rigathi Gachagua is trying to say that let Matiang'I actually puts himself as a leader from the Gusii community, and he must avoid the Luo politics. He must avoid Raila Amolo Odinga politics. And Rigathi is forgetting that both Raila and Matiang'I comes from Nyanza as a region. And what Rigathi should be telling Fred is, how can you consolidate the entire Nyanza as a region? How should you go and communicate with Raila Amolo Odinga so that he can assist him to put together these two tribes within Nyanza region? But when he is saying that he should avoid Raila Amolo Odinga, that is actually dividing Nyanza as a region. And I think by this time, Fred Okengo Matiang'I should actually communicate with Raila Amolo Odinga. He should negotiate with Raila Amolo Odinga that it is now time for the Luo nation to support the Kisii nation towards the national politics, because the Gusii nation has always supported Raila Amolo Odinga, but not to divide the Gusii nation and the Luo nation, not to tell Fred Okengo Matiang'I that he should avoid Raila Amolo Odinga kind of politics. So, if you look at these two political leaders, you can agree with me that the kind of politics they are playing is actually quite different with each other. The way these two political leaders are being seen by the Kenyans is like heaven and earth from each other. They differ in a very big difference, because the way they are actually portraying themselves in the national table is quite different. And that is what is bringing me to politics of tribalism. And in politics of tribalism, we have negative and positive politics. And at this and in Kenya, I am not going to hide. I have to say that we actually play tribal politics so much in our politics. And we will always be having leaders who will be leading different legions, different tribes. And for you to get support of another tribe, you must have to go through those tribal kingpin. But when you just look from that, we can say it is positive tribal politics. But sometimes we can really say that we dwell so much in tribal politics, which is very negative. Because by telling Matiang'I that he should go to the national table with his people who are 2.5 million, and Rigathi is coming with his tribe with 3 million, and then they will start to divide the cake by actually having that kind of share formula or shares formula. Then we can clearly say that those tribes who lacks larger population, they will never reach this nation. Because once you go to the table, you will say, I have come with my tribe, which is 2.5 million. You have come with your tribe, which is 4 million. And definitely, the 4 million tribe will always produce somebody will read this nation. And that actually make our tribal politics to be quite negative. And that is why I say, if that is the politics we are praying, then even if Fred Okengo Matiang'I looks like a national figure, then he can never be able to lead this nation. He will be told, you have put, your shares are quite small to lead this nation. And also those tribes with tyranny, what we call tyranny of numbers, they will be saying, we have more shares in this government, and therefore we should read. And when it comes to that, we can say that is negative tribal politics. But if we can use that tribal arithmetic, but we say that we are going now to produce the best political leader among us, we are all equal, by actually coming up with that tribal arithmetic. But now let us go beyond this tribal arithmetic. Who among us can lead us positively? Who among us can take us to the destination we want? And now we overlook a bit the arithmetic, tribal arithmetic, that actually can give Kenya a very good leader. But the way Rigathi Gachagua is coming up with shares of politics, I call that negative politics. And the last thing I want to talk about is Matiang'I Gusii support. I can say without any doubt that the person who is leading the Gusii nation is Fred Okengo Matiang'I. People from Gusii are actually done with the leadership of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. It's now Matiang'I. And if you are going to oppose Fred Okengo Matiang'I from the Gusii nation, then your politics is going to perish. And because of that, Matiang'I should not be lecturing the Gusii nation about shares. But he should look at Fred Matiang'I as a leader who is capable of leading this nation. And now what they should be doing, they should actually be doing what we call opinion polls within this nation to see that if Fred Okengo Matiang'I is put to go for presidency, can he be voted by the Kenyans? If Rigathi is put to be the leader among the Wamnyoro group, is he going to get more votes than Fred Okengo Matiang'I? Then we must do an opinion poll with everybody within the Wamnyoro group, and then we come up with a leader who is going to lead that group. So the politics of Fred Okengo Matiang'I and Rigathi Gachagua is quite different. It's like heaven and earth. And that is why I feel that these two political leaders are not going to be on the same stand at the end. They are going to differ so much. I really don't know what's your take. What can you say about the politics of Rigathi Gachagua and the politics of Fred Okengo Matiang'I? Please drop your comment in the comment section below. And if this is your first time to bump into this YouTube channel, I request you kindly to take a minute and subscribe, share the video, like the video, and also smash the bell button so that you can get notified whenever we upload any political content into YouTube. And with that, I say thank you. May God bless you all abundantly until we meet in our next political conversation. Goodbye.